You are watching Darasa Online.
Welcome to Darasa Online. It is again another economic session for economic subject. Again, this time we are going to focus on the topic of subject matter. So our lesson, it is economics. We are going to focus on the topic. Our topic is subject matter. Subject matter of economics. Our subtopic. So as we said, this topic, it has got many subparts or subtopics which have to be covered. Now in this time, we're going to check one. We'll check on the nature of economics, and we will also check the economic laws. This is what we're going to deal with. There are so many things to deal with in these parts as subtopics, but for this lesson, we're going to check on these two items. We will check the nature of economics, where there is also a divergence in some of the economists. Then we'll also check on the issue of economic laws. We'll check what is economic laws, types of economic laws, and probably the application of economic laws. How do they work? That is where we're going to center. So come with me. We'll start with the nature of economics.
You are watching Darasa Online.
Now in this part, or the nature of economics, most of economists, they are trying to explain the nature of economics in terms of trying to explain whether we can group economics as a science subject or whether we can group economics as art subject, and if it is a science subject, does it operate really like other natural sciences, and if not, what are the reasons that is making it not to be working as the other pure sciences? So it is this part of nature of economics. We'll also check the issue of whether economics is working part as normative economics and part of a positive economics. So we are going to cover in this part. So in this part, having seen, or we call back from the class, the nature of economics, some economists, they consider economics as a science subject, and they give their reasons as to why they consider economics as a science subject. So economics is considered as science subject, according to some economists. So they consider economics as a science subject. When we speak of science, science is a body of knowledge which is systematically analyzed or studied. That is science. So a science is a body of knowledge, or you can say a discipline, which is systematically studied or analyzed. This is a science. So these economists, they are also arguing that economics is a science because probably it has some features which science subject should have. So for them, they conclude that economics is a science subject. Now, why do they say economics is a science subject? Now, reasons they use to argue or to explain as to why economics is considered as a science. So we have some few reasons here, which those some economists they use to defend and say economics is a science subject. Number one, they say economics is a systematic study. Remember in the introduction I said a science is a systematic study, is a body of knowledge which is systematically studied. So if we find that a subject, it is systematically studied, it is systematically analyzed, then we'll be in the position to say this subject, it is a science subject. How do you say systematically? It means all science subjects or all science disciplines, they involve some steps in studying the subject. For example, it should involve issues of identification of problems. That is one aspect in systematic study. So if it is a science subject, it should involve identifying different problems in the procedures of making solutions. Identifying these problems, it is also involving data collection. That means there should be data collection. You identify those problems. Maybe we say there is inflation in the economy. That is the problem. There is inflation in the economy. There is deflation in the economy. That is the problem. There is unemployment. It is a problem. We have identified. Then finally, the second part, we are going to collect data. That is data collection. So in economics, we are also following these steps. We identify problems, as I said, maybe it is unemployment, it is maybe inflation, it is deflation, or any other problem. Then after identifying that problem, we go to collect data. That means we visit the households, we visit the society to collect data because we want to verify that there is inflation in the economy. So that means it is a systematic study. After collecting data, we make data analysis. Data analysis. This is also done in economics. After we collect data, we have data analysis where those data, they are analyzed, they are simplified, then they are maybe tableized, or they can be presented in graph or in tables or in shadows, whatever. But that is analysis of data. So those data collected, they have to be analyzed systematically. Then after analyzing those data, that means we have the issue of drawing a conclusion. Drawing conclusion. It means now after collecting data, then you have data analysis. Probably you can present them, as we said, in different graphs, in tables, or in other presentation ways. Then finally you draw conclusion. So these are some of the steps which all science disciplines, they have to focus. So because economics is considered as a science subject, it is also following these procedures. It is involving identification of the problem, involving data collection, involving data analysis, and finally it is drawing conclusion from those collected and analyzed data. So this is one of the reasons as to why we say economics is a science subject. The second reason as to why these economics, they say economics is a science subject, it is that economics, it has laws and theories. It has laws and theories. It means all science disciplines, they have laws. For example, if you go in physics, there are so many laws guiding the subject. You wish maybe it is in chemistry, there are different laws, there are different theories guiding the subject. You go maybe likewise in biology, because they are science subject, they have laws which they are guiding those disciplines. Now, even in economics, we have laws. We have theories which they are guiding our subject. So because we also involve laws and theories, then it is obvious we consider economics as science, because like what is happening in physics, like what is happening in chemistry, what is happening in biology, it is also happening in economics. Now for that case, we can consider it as laws, because these laws or theories, they are governing occurrence of different events in the discipline. For example, we have maybe the laws of demand and supply. This is one of the law which is in economics. The law of maybe diminishing marginal utility. That is a law. So economics, it has many laws which they are governing and explaining the cause-effect relationship between different variables. So this is also a reason that makes us to consider economics as a science subject, because it is involving laws, it is also involving theories. Another reason as to why it is considered as a science, economic, it has scale of measurement. It has scale of measurement. When you speak of scale of measurement, all science disciplines, they have scale of measurements. For example, if you go in mathematics, we go maybe in physics, in chemistry, there are scales of measurement. We have measurement like maybe those which they are measuring weight, those which they are measuring distance, those which they are measuring maybe height, and other measurements. So even in economics, we have scale of measurements. I said in pure science, like chemistry, physics, or other science, they have unique measurements. I said, for example, the measurement for weight, measurement for height, measurement for distance, measurement for volume. Those are measurement, scale of measurements. So now, even in economics, we have a scale of measurement. The scale of measurement in economics, it is the money. Money is the scale of measurement in economics. Why? Because all the value of all items, they are valued in terms of money, which it is given in terms of maybe a price, for example. That is, when you say the price of this item, it is this much, it means it is indicating the measurement value of that item. So in economics, we have scale of measurement, which is money. And money, it is measuring these items or different commodities or different services by valuing them in form of price. So it means economics is a science because it is involving scale of measurement, where we use different measurement to measure these items. Another reason as to why economics is regarded as a science, because it can predict future events. Like what is happening in other pure science subjects, like in physics, like in chemistry. They can use the laws and theories available to predict what will be happening in the future. We all know, those who are taking geography, you know, in geography, we can predict what will be happening in the future. For example, there are those people who are predicting, maybe in some years to come, these continents we have, they might multiply because they have seen some events going on. Then they conclude that because there are faulting, fractures going on, then probably in some years to come in the future, these continents we have, they will no longer be 7 continents. We may have 8 continents or even 10 continents because they see those events. So they are predicting. So even in economics, we can use the available informations, we can use the available laws and theories to predict what will be happening in the future. For example, we can see the ongoing changes on price, the ongoing changes on employment, then we can predict what will be happening in the future in terms of employment, what will be happening in the future in terms of price. We can also predict what will be happening maybe in terms of population. We can see the present population, how does it increase in terms of population growth rate. Then we can predict that in the future, the population will increase rapidly, it will cause these problems. So because it is giving us room of making predictions of what will be happening in the future, then this is also giving us a room to consider economics as a science subject, because it is used to predict what will be happening in the future. This is one of the reasons as to why some of the economists, they consider economics as a science subject. This is one of the reasons. Now, having seen some of these, we can also see the other reason, which is economics, it has experiments. That means it conducts experiments. How do we conduct experiments? Experiments in economics are conducted to verify if the statement they are correct, if it is true. If we have a demand function, if we have a demand law, we can use that demand law and the demand function to make experiment whether the effect will be true. If we say an increase in price result to a fall in quantity demanded, we can prove it either by graph, we can prove it either mathematically. So because you can make experiment to prove different events, like what they are doing even in natural science. You can see in natural science they have laboratories where they are going to conduct experiment to prove different events. So even in economics, we are conducting different experiments to prove different events. As I said, if we say maybe if tax increases, it is going to reduce the consumption pattern of individuals, then we can prove it either mathematically or we can prove it using graph. So we consider economics as a science subject just because it is involving experiment which proves the occurrence of different events. This is, now these are the reasons as to why some of the economists, they consider economics as a science subject. Now let's try to see one of the competent questions there, question number 2, which is, though economics is argued as a science subject, it cannot work scientifically as other natural sciences work. That is, though economics is argued as science subject, it cannot work scientifically as other natural science work. Comment the above statement using examples. So we have concluded that, based on these reasons you have seen, we have concluded that economics is a science because we have provided 5 reasons which are concluding that economics is a science. But that question is asking, even if economics is argued to be a science, but the operation of this subject, the working mechanism of this subject, it is not considering it as a natural science because it is not working as other natural sciences are working. Now, how can we comment on this statement that economics is a science? Then now it is not operating scientifically as other natural science. What do we mean? It means despite economics being science, there are some areas where it is missing to indicate it as a pure science. It means there are some items which they are showing that economics is a science but not pure science, meaning that it is working as science but not pure science. Now, what are the reasons? Now, it is very simple because we have seen these reasons which they are defending economics to be a science, but you can use the same reasons to show that economics is not pure science. So we want to show that economics is not pure science in the following reasons. Now, one of the reasons here, what are the reasons that makes economics not to work as pure science, as other natural science? Now, one, the theories and laws used in economics are based on assumptions. Based on assumptions. So that is a weakness. It means we cannot consider economics as a pure science because the theories and the laws which they are explained in economics are not pure. They are based on assumptions. When you say assumption, means those laws, they cannot work unless those assumptions or those conditions, they operate. So if we have a law which cannot operate until a certain condition is fulfilled, then that is not a pure law. It is something which is explaining truism of items, but not a law. For example, when we say this is a law of demand, law of demand, which states maybe ceteris paribus. So the word ceteris paribus, we call back to class, we said ceteris paribus means other thing being constant. It means for this law to operate, there should be ceteris paribus. This is the condition. So it is not a pure law because it is based on a condition, meaning that other thing being constant, the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. And the lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. But it is working at a given condition. So for that case, if we go in pure sciences, like in physics, when we say this is the law of rotation, there are no conditions there which they guide the law. The law is stated for rotation and it is working purely. But this one, it is working under given condition, which is ceteris paribus. Meaning that when these things, they are not constant, the law is not functioning. For that case, this is not a pure science subject because the laws and the theories are based on assumption. The second reason, we said economics has scale of measurement, but the scale of measurement is not static. Or you can say not constant, so that it is well known. It means the scale of measurement in economics, because we said economics also has a scale of measurement, as we said. But this scale of measurement, we said, it is money. It is not constant. The value of money changes from time to time. You can find today 1 shilling maybe equals to this amount. Tomorrow it is going to change. They are going to change. So it is not constant. It is dynamic, changing from time to time. But we said for those pure sciences, their scale of measurement, they are not changing. If we say 1 kilogram equals to 1,000 grams, then that is constant, cannot change. When we say maybe 1 kilometer equals to 100 meter, for example, that it cannot change because they are constant. But in economics, the scale of measurement is not constant. It is changing from time to time. You can find the value of items today, they differ from those one tomorrow, and that they may be the day after tomorrow, and so far. So for that case, the scale of measurement in economics, which is money, is not constant. This is indicating that economics is not a pure science. The other reason, experiments in economics, are not conducted in pure laboratories. Now we said one of the reasons why economics is a science, we said because it is conducting experiment. But in pure science, experiments, they are conducted in laboratories, physical laboratories. You can go there, you can find they are testing the occurrence of different events in the laboratory. But in economics, we don't have pure laboratories which they are making these experiments. We said these experiments are based on either graphically, just doing graphs, or verifying that if demand price increases, demand will fall by using maybe mathematical functions, but not pure laboratory experiments. Now for that case, because we are not involving ourselves in conducting laboratories experiments, then economics is not considered as a pure science. That is one of the reasons. And the last one we say economics deals with the human behavior. Another reason as to why economics is not considered as pure science, because this subject, it is dealing with the human behavior. Remember, human behavior is dynamic. There is no uniform way you can define human behavior. So if the discipline or the subject is dealing with human behavior, it is not easy to consider it as science, because there is no uniformity. Because human behavior, they change from time to time. They are not static, they are dynamic. For that case, this subject is not a pure science because it is dealing with the human behavior. Behaviors of individual consumers, individual producers, behavior of the government and others. For that case, these behaviors are not uniform, they change from time to time. Then they are taking economics to be considered not as pure science. Now, these are the reasons as to why economics is considered as not as a pure science. Now, basing in this expansion I've made, showing that economics is a science, then in working mechanism, this science can be studied in two approaches. That means we can explain science of economics in two approaches. That means economics is a science subject. We can study it in two approaches, I said. The first approach, we study it as positive science or positive economics. That is the first part. Because we said economics is a science, now it can be studied in two approaches. The first approach, it is we study or consider economics, or we view economics as a positive science. What is a positive science? Now, a positive science is a part of economics which is explaining how the economy is actually functioning. How the economy is actually functioning. It means this one deals with how the economy actually functions. That is, it is dealing with how the economy is functioning. It means it is a branch of economics which is dealing with the facts. It deals with the facts or realities. You see? So in positive science, it is a branch or it is a part of economics which is explaining how the economy is operating, how the economy actually is functioning. It is dealing with the fact. The fact. That means this part, it is not dealing with the value of judgment. No, it deals with the facts. It means with the positive economics, when people in the economy do not agree, they have to observe what does the facts tell us when there is disagreement. So it means when there is any disagreement in the economy, that means we have to go to the fact. What the fact tell us? So it means in this part, we deal with the reality or facts only. For example, when we say how the economy is actually operating, for example, when we say it uses statement maybe like what is. It means what is, it is reflecting what is the fact of that item, the fact of that economy, the fact of that situation. What was. This statement, they can be included in the positive statements, that they are showing the reality, they are showing the facts, or how the economy should actually function. This is when we speak of positive economics. For example, when we say, one of the positive statements, e.g., that's an example when we say the increase in price results to fall in quantity demanded. Those said at certain periods, but this is the fact. When price increases, we expect demand to fall. So this is the reality. If we don't agree, we go to the fact. Either we use, as we said, maybe tables, we use maybe diagrams. We present that when price increases, demand will fall. So this statement, it is positive statement because it is indicating the reality. It is indicating the fact, what will occur. Because when price increases, we expect demand to fall. So that is a positive statement. So this is the first approach of studying economics. Now, if we view it in this way, the second part, you can view economics as normative economics. Normative statement. Normative statement. As normative statement, here economics, it deals with how the economy should function. So here you can find a difference. In the first approach, we said it deals with how the economy is actually functioning. Here it is saying it is dealing with how the economy should. It means it is like a suggestion. It is like something to judge that how should it work. Not how it is working, how should it work. So this is a normative economy. It means this economy, it is observing or it is dealing with the people's moral or attitudes, expressions, and opinions. So it means it is considering opinions, expressions, attitudes of the people. How do they suggest the working mechanism of the economy? It means it is studying what is wrong or what is right, what is good or what is bad. So people that are suggesting on how the economy should operate by basing on opinion, suggestions, or attitudes of the people in the economy. Now for that case, we expect a statement in this economy to be like, for example, what ought to be, that is, how should it be. That is, this is a normative statement because they are basing on opinion. And under this normative statement, when people they disagree, that there is a problem of disagreement, then they don't go to the fact because it's not dealing with the fact. They have to vote. Because it is dealing with the opinions, it is dealing with suggestions, it is dealing with the attitudes, that means they vote. They have to sit down and vote. Who says what and who says what. Then after voting, then they are going to make conclusions. So it means conclusions are drawn from voting when there is disagreement. While in the first part, as we said, it means conclusions are made after collecting fact. It means here we can make empirical evidence through research, then we can make conclusion. Here we can make through voting that people that have suggested this, they have suggested that, then we make conclusion that these people they say, what about employment? They say, what about inflation? Then you conclude. So in normative statement, it is dealing with the opinion, suggestions, and expressions of different people in the economy. This is for the case of a normative and the positive statement. Now, having seen these two approaches of studying economics, that is positive and normative economics, let's try to check one of the model questions, which is a competency-based question on the issue of positive and normative statements. Now, when you check in the screen, you find there is question number 1. And the question number 1 is saying, the object of economic analysis is not merely to discover the truth, but also to assist in the solution of concrete problems. Comment on this statement. I repeat, the object of economic analysis is not merely to discover the truth, but also to assist in the solution of concrete problems. Now, try to check this question. It is asking that in economic analysis, it is not only discovering truth. It means in economics, we are not only dealing with the finding facts. We are not only dealing with the finding the truth, which is happening in the economy, but we have also to consider the solution of those problems. It means when we deal with the discovering truth, it means we are in positive economics. Because you said positive economics, it is a part of economics which is concerned with the how actually the economy operates, and it is dealing with the facts. Remember, those facts you said they are collected from empirical evidences of doing research. Now, after doing research, that means we discover the truth. So it means discovering truth. It is a part of positive economics. So it means we have to explain what is positive economics, and we relate on how it discovers truth. Because as we said, it is discovering truth by conducting research through making those empirical evidences. On the other part of that economic analysis, we have also to solve the problems which they are facing, the problem. That is, to assist in the solution of concrete problems. It means we discover the truth of the economy, but also we have to solve the problems. Now, in normative economics, where we said it is dealing with the people's opinion, people's suggestions, people's expressions. It means from there, we can use those expressions. We can use how people they see, then we can solve problems. So it means these questions demand you to explain both normative and positive statements as they are used in discovering truth, but also in solving different problems. This is for the case of that question number 1. Now, having seen this positive and normative economics, now we move to the last subpart, which is the economic laws.
You are watching Darasa Online.
Now, remember we said in the beginning, one of the evidence to prove that economics is a science, we said it has laws. Now, what is an economic law? Economic law, we say these are statements of tendency which shows cause-effect relationship between economic variables. Those are economic laws. That economic laws are the statement of tendency. They are used to explain or to show the relationship or the cause-effect relationship between economic variables. It means the function of economic laws or economic theories, they want to show the cause-effect. Cause-effect means we have two variables. Let's say we have two variables. Maybe we have maybe a variable x and y. When we say cause-effect, these are two variables in the economy. Maybe it is inflation and the unemployment. That is two variables, whatever. But now, economic laws are used to explain what causes what to happen. That means cause-effect relation. If this one changes, what effect will occur in this one? That is two variables, they are relating to each other. Now, the economic laws will be explaining what will happen if this variable is going to change and this one. For example, we said the law of demand. This is one of the law of demand. It is showing the effect on the change on price, the effect on demand. And we said when the price increases, demand falls. So it means there the variables is price. We had the price there. Then we had the quantity. So it means it is indicating what is the effect on the quantity demanded when the price changes. So we have a law there now which is explaining the cause-effect relation of these two variables. When the price change, what is the effect on quantity? This is the law of demand. But now, as we said, economic laws, they are statement of tendency which they are showing cause-effect relationship between economic variables. And I said the economic variables may be price or quantities. We can also say economic laws, they are governing behaviors of individuals concerning the allocation of scarce resource. That means they govern the behavior of individuals. Individuals here can be consumers, can be producers. So they are governed by economic laws on how they can allocate their scarce resources to produce goods and services to satisfy human wants. So economic laws are governing those decisions of individuals, individual consumers, individual producers, on how they can produce goods or services to satisfy unlimited human wants. Then let's check the types now of economic laws, types of economic laws. So in terms of economic laws, we can check 4 types of economic laws. They can operate in 4 types. One, we have the so-called pure, or we say natural laws. Pure or natural laws. What are these? When we say a pure economic law, it's that law which is operating purely from interaction of economic variables. That means a law which develops or which explains the interaction of economic variables. That is a pure or natural laws. For example, when we say the law of supply, a law of supply, it is explaining the interaction of economic variables. The economic variables is the price and the quantity supplied. These are economic variables. So this law of supply, it is trying to explain or to describe the interaction between the price and the quantity. That's why the law states the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied. And the lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied. So it is indicating the interaction of price and quantity, So it is developing purely from interaction of economic variables. This is called the pure or natural laws. The second one, we have the so-called state laws, or they are called the laws of superstructure. These are laws made by the government. They are made by the government. Why do government make these laws? These laws are made by the government to govern different policies of the government when they want to meet the objectives. So they formulate some laws which they will help them in fulfilling the demand for what they need. For example, when we say there is, a law of taxation, it means a law of taxation is not pure or natural law, because these laws may be made by the government aiming to have effective collection of taxes, aiming to have maximum collection of revenue or whatever. So it is made by the government to assist the government in different decisions. These are called as the state or superstructure laws. Then laws number 3, we have the laws which are called the specific laws. These are the third category of economic laws. These specific laws, these are laws which they operate in a specific economic system or in a specific economic event. That means they cannot operate in overall economy because they are not general, but they are just specific for a certain system. For example, when we say a law of profit maximization, this is a specific law, because this law, it is operating only in that economy or in that system which is profit maximizing economy. And we know profit maximizing economy means the capitalist economy or the pure capitalist economy. It is where individuals, their motive, their objective is to maximize the profit. So those laws which are governing profit maximization, they are specific laws because they will only be operating in the part of a capitalist economic system. It means they cannot operate in socialist economy. In a socialist economy, we have maybe the law of welfare maximization. It means welfare maximization, it can only exist in a socialist economy, because in socialist economy, the government, the motto of the government is to maximize welfare of the society, welfare of the majority. Now, this can only operate in socialist economy or the so-called command economy. It means it cannot operate in capitalist economy. This is for the case of welfare maximization. Now, the last type of economic law, we have the general laws. General economic laws. That is number 4. So law number 4, we say we have the general laws. General laws. These are opposite to specific laws. These general laws, these are laws which operate in all economic system. It means they operate in all economic systems. These we call them as general laws. It means when they are in a socialist economy, they operate. When they are in a capitalist economy, they operate. When they are in a mixed economy, they operate. They operate in all economic system. It means if you apply those laws in Tanzania, they operate. You apply them maybe in Cuba, they operate. You apply them in USA, they operate because they are general laws. They cannot operate in one part. They operate in all economic system. For example, the law of demand and the supply. The law of demand and supply. It means this law can operate in any economic system. In a pure capitalist economy can operate. In a socialist economy can operate. In a mixed economy can operate. So we consider it as general law because they can operate in all economic system. That is economic laws. Then now we can also go to check the nature, or we say characteristics of economic laws. That is the nature or characteristics of economic laws. That is the other part. Now, some of the characteristics or features of economic laws, they include the following. Number one, they are hypothetical and conditional. It means economic laws are conditional. What do we mean when we say conditional? Meaning that economic laws, they are basing on assumptions. It means the operation of economic laws, they are conditional, meaning that they operate in assumptions. That means without those assumptions, they cannot operate. That's why we said the law of demand is stating ceteris paribus. The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. And the lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. Because it is explained as condition of ceteris paribus. When other things, they remain constant. It means out of those conditions, this law may not operate. So this is the first feature. The second one, economic laws, they are indicative. They are indicative. We say indicative because they are indicating what is going to happen. That is in reality. It means when we say this is a law of demand, it is actually indicating what will happen, what is going to happen. So economic laws are indicative in nature. This is one of the features of economic laws. Number three, economic laws, they are qualitative. Qualitative. What do we mean when we say qualitative? It means economic laws are not quantitative. They are qualitative. When you state economic laws, for example, you say it is just stating when the price changes, demand will change. But by how much? It's not explaining. So it is qualitative because it is not stating when the price changes, by how much the quantity is going to change. So they are qualitative, they are not quantitative. So that is one of the feature. Number four, economic laws, we say they are not exact because they deal with the human behavior. They are not exact because they deal with human behavior. And we said human behavior is not static, it is dynamic. So these laws, they are not exact because they are dealing with the human behavior. And the last nature or characteristics, we say these laws, they are non-predictable. Predictable. What do we mean? It means what they explain, it can happen or not. That is non-predictable. They are not predictable. We cannot predict. The economic laws can state this event, but the event may not necessarily occur. It may not occur. So the event, it may occur or not. This is for the case of economic laws. Now, these are some features of economic laws. But generally, these laws, economic laws, whether they are specific, they are those who said general or they are pure. but economic laws are very important in economic life. They are very important because they are very useful in helping individuals to make different decisions, especially for consumers, for producers. They govern them to make different decisions. But also by the government, it is very useful in formulating different policies. Policies about taxes, policies about maybe welfare maximization, and other policies of the government. They might be governed by the economic laws. So they are very useful in those ones. But also, economic laws are very useful in some areas in terms of predicting the future. It means you can use economic laws to explain or to predict what will be happening maybe after 1 year, what will be happening in the next month, what will be happening after 10 years. So we can use economic laws to predict, to make predictions about the future trend of the economy. But after observing the ongoing situations, then we can use economic laws to explain what will be happening in the future or in the near future. For example, maybe we can check the trend of population, the trend of unemployment, the trend of production. Then you can predict what will be happening in the future in terms of population, in terms of unemployment, or in terms of production of the economy by using economic laws. So economic laws are generally very useful. Now we go for a very short break, and once you come back, we'll read some comment and questions from some students, and you can send your comment or a question to the number which is passing on your screen. Thank you, and come back after the short break.
You are watching Darasa Online.
Yes, welcome again after the short break. Now we are going to read comments and questions from some students from different parts of the country. Now we start from Andongwise Mwakajoka from Mbeya. He is asking, hello sir, we have very interesting lesson because you have been facing problems in performing some of the areas, especially in economic laws and the nature of economics. Thank you for the interesting lesson. That is Mwakajoka from Mbeya. Then next comment is from Anna Kambona from Moshi. The lesson is interesting. We are very happy because we get some solutions from the areas where we made some difficulties. Thank you also for your comment. And the last comment is coming from Elizabeth John from Lindi. We are thankful for the discussion. Indeed, it is very good and it is helping us stay blessed. Thank you also for your comment. And this is the last comment. Thank you for listening. You have to keep on studying on your personal studies, pass in different past papers, books, and other areas so that you become competent enough to solve different questions. We meet you next lesson. Thank you.